Hey guys, and a very happy new year to you all. Angelo Lambropoulos, Director of Lambros Realty here. Can't believe January's passed already. So what I'll be doing this year, every month I'll be giving a property market update of what's actually happening in Cherrybrook, so you can see what's actually happening on the ground. I've been asked by a lot of you, and I dare say there's others that have questions that just try to make sense of what's happening in the Cherrybrook property market. I mean, I know you're looking at the news and it's all doom and gloom, but I just obviously want to share with you what's happening on the ground. Obviously my predictions as to what I can anticipate happening and what's happening already. So far, what I'm seeing in January, let's look at the facts, okay? And what I'm doing here is looking at facts, and I'm going to explain why the statistics, debunking the statistics out there and why they're providing false information and leaving a lot of you confused. So first and foremost, what you need to understand, in January this year, there's only been one sale registered in Cherrybrook, okay? One. That is well below the suburb average. Give you an example, last year, January 2018, there were 5 sales. One sale is probably the worst I can recall for Cherrybrook as a whole. So what you're seeing evidently is that the buyer activity just isn't there. It speaks volumes. Now, where I'm getting at with statistics here is this. The median price in Cherrybrook is registered as 1.5. Now, what you got to remember is, does that 1.5 translate into the buyer market and the activity at the moment? Absolutely not. Now, if you have no sale, right, that median price doesn't change. There's no statistical data, okay? So, if you don't have to sell, you don't have to sell. So the reason you're not seeing the median price in Cherrybrook dropping at a rate that's a lot worse than a lot of the others out there is because most of you are in a position where if you don't get the price you want, you don't need to sell. There's not that mortgage stress, if you will, right? But if you're looking at it at an actual, what's happening in the market at the moment, the 1.5 median, right? And then you've got a median of 750 per week for rentals in Cherrybrook. What you'll actually find, it's translating more if you're looking at an actual figure and there were registered sales taking place and people couldn't afford to hold on. You'd be looking more at a median price of 1.4 and the rental, which would be around 800 a week, which works out at 3% yield, contrary to what's being published out there at a 2.6% yield based on the 1.5 median. So yes, why has the rental market gone up? Why do I think it's gone up? What can I see happening? So I think that being said, what I can see happening is this, I'm noticing an increase in migration from Hong Kong, the UK, England in particular. Migrants from South Africa are still strong. But as far as migration from China is concerned in Cherrybrook, it's almost obsolete. That was a big driving factor as to what was the driving force behind property values here in Cherrybrook. So what you've got in the rental market, and I guess the question is, okay, if these migrants are coming in and they've got, they're quite well off, I must say, with strong budgets, why aren't they buying? Well, the reason they're not buying is because they want to trial the suburb before they actually invest and invest in Cherrybrook as a whole. But obviously it is getting good reviews and abroad, right? So it is on the map, which is a very positive sign, which suggests to me that Cherrybrook, and it always has been a consistent property market if you look at historical trends and professional reports out there, and the school is the driving force. Now, what's going to happen? You'll notice that once it's trialled and a lot of these migrants come in and appreciate Cherrybrook, they're the ones that will start to purchase, but they want to check out the suburb first to make sure it's the right thing for them. So that's what's happening at the moment. So I guess you could say it's a try before you buy type mentality. The other side of that is the rental market as well. With Cherrybrook Technology High School, which I'm sure a lot of you aren't aware of out there, what's now required is, as a landlord, if you're to lease directly to a tenant without an agency putting a management agreement in place, the school is going to ask you to go through an agency. They've obviously tightened that law, so it's, you know, legislation states around New South Wales that you don't need an agent with to intervene in the, to manage a rental property, but obviously, you know, district dependent, jurisdiction does state that you can make, you know, such bylaws if you see fit, and that's what Cherrybrook Technology High School has done due to the fraudulent applications that have gone through there. So on that, again, it needs to, if you're looking to lease as a landlord, you're not, and go directly through a tenant, you're going to be asked to go through a real estate agency, otherwise they won't approve that tenant's application. So they've obviously strict with that now as well. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. I want to make sure I don't miss anything for you guys. So I guess just what I'm noticing out there, and there's a few, you know, some unethical behaviour I want you guys to be aware of. I've since been advised this is what's happening out there, that from a rental perspective, the agencies have gone from charging 1 week a letting fee to, I've now heard they're charging a 2-week letting fee, and advising landlords to take on a 6-month tenancy as opposed to 12. Obviously that, you know, it's a no-brainer. The reason they're doing that is to obviously maximize their revenue, because times are tough from a sales perspective. So just be careful you don't be caught in that trap. An agent should be advising a 12-month lease period. As a tenant, let's be honest, nobody's going to go in there and say, yeah, I'll happily take 6 months and pack my bags and move out. It just doesn't happen. So don't leave yourself in a predicament where you're going to be out of pocket unnecessarily. So just a thing to look out for if you're a first-time renter, a landlord looking to lease. The other thing I've also noticed is I've been told that agents are increasing their marketing fees. You know what my view is on marketing. I don't think you should pay it, but you know, they've actually gone and they're charging more these days, and obviously they're doing that in order to cover their overheads because the market is tough at your expense. So my advice to you would be, if you're in a position where you don't need to sell, don't. This is just my opinion, I don't have a crystal ball, but most of what I have said would happen in Cherrybrook has played out so far. I don't mean to big note myself or anything, but I've been in the suburb for 30 years, so I've got a pretty good inkling of what goes on. So what I can see happening is, what I am getting from a lot of these guys that are migrating is they love the suburb already. They will look at buying. Some of the higher prices you have seen in Cherrybrook of recent times have been predominantly a result of the migrants that have come abroad. Not so much the local market due to banking, lending restrictions. If you're looking to lease, leasing now is still a very strong market in order to do so. Cherrybrook will always be strong from a rental perspective because of the schools. So, you know, what I would look at, if you had enough, you want to get out of Cherrybrook because of work and it's too far to commute from now on, it's with your work, what you want to look at doing is perhaps looking at leasing your property in Cherrybrook, going elsewhere, making sure you like the area you're looking to move to down the track, and when the market picks up again, to consider selling. I'm noticing a lot of homes that are left on the market for days and they're not selling, not doing anything. My advice, if you're one of those people, rip them off, take it off the market completely, and you know, obviously advise or tell your agent, happy for you to work with it, but work with it off market and bring some buyers in through that way, because you're burning the property. What it suggests is you're asking too much and the market's not willing to pay it, and it's not a reflection of your true property value. Your property may very well be worth that, but it's just waiting for that one right buyer to make the move at the right time. So the positive of all of this is I'm seeing good people migrate with good solid budgets. The negative from all of that is nobody's in a position to do anything yet because there's uncertainty. I think the first 6 months will be very tough. I think it'll get stronger as the year goes on. I think part of July, the 2017, sorry, my apologies. I think the financial year, the next financial year, July 2019, I think things will really start to loosen up. People will have more certainty as in regards to what the government's doing. There'll be more clarity in regards to negative gearing. There'll be more clarity in the shape of, you know, a lot of the migrants will be start to moving towards the trend of, okay, let's look at securing something. Again, the banks with their regulations at the moment, let's be honest, they're at rock bottom. They can't get much worse. So I think it's positive signs ahead. We're still seeing good, solid, you know, levels of migration with good budgets coming through. A lot of the lower budgets are the local market that is obviously have been crunched by the banks due to their lending criteria. The work and labour force around the nation is reported to be, you know, one of its unemployment seems to be quite well contained, and employment levels are doing quite well. So when you start to hear those things being reported, it's positive signs and a positive outlook ahead, despite all the doom and gloom that's happening at the moment. So I hope I haven't chewed your ear off. I've gone a little longer than I anticipated. My original plan was to keep this to 2 minutes. I think I've gone up to somewhere about 12, but there was a lot to cover, and obviously I'll try to be a lot more punchy and precise in the upcoming monthly videos. But I hope that gives you guys a bit of an overview as to what's going on. So my advice would be don't look at the statistics that are being reported out there, because they're not accurate. You know, there are no statistics if there is no data to report. So for instance, as I mentioned before, the 1.5 median value, well, if nothing sells, well, that stays untouched, which on the flip side shows you nothing selling because there's nothing happening in the market. So I hope that gives you guys a bit more insight and clarity as to what I see and what's happened in January so far. Be interesting to see how the year pans out ahead. Interesting to see how my predictions go as time goes on. But yeah, all in all, thank you for watching. Again, Angelo Lambropoulos, Director of Lambros Realty. If you have any further questions, please feel free to call me on 029481 0999, or simply visit me here at the office here at Apple Tree Shops, Cherrybrook, or you can email me on info@lambrosrealty.com.au, and we'll take it from there. And I will see you again in February, early March for February update, and we'll see how things track. But all in all, I think, you know, we'll start to see a couple more sales, should see a bit more activity, and yeah, take care.